Yo, and welcome to Shooting the Soil. It's the end of June. We're going to check out one of our raised beds that hasn't been doing particularly great. It's doing much better this year. But anyway, we're in New England here, zone 6.5, and we got a little video to share with you of the garden before we hop on the microscope and take a look at what... to the microscope. And this is what that bed looks like at 100x under the microscope. Alright, so we're already seeing some more fungal hyphae, which is a nice sign. It was really interesting that I found at the beginning of the season when we microscoped this. You can check the link in the description for those sessions. We really saw no fungal hyphae when we saw a pretty decent amount at the end of last year. But already, let me just go through the focus. We already are seeing much more fungal hyphae in this bed. And basically what we've done, we've added some compost. We did a little compost extract. And I also put in a mycorrhizal inoculant called Mycogenis from AEA. It's Advancing Eco Agriculture. There we go, said that right. Alright, so let's take a little scan around at 100x. We're seeing a lot of nice aggregates, these big clumps over here, and little fungal hyphae sticking out of them. That's excellent. That's one of your best indications to know that the soil food web is doing its thing down there, is this aggregation that you see. Like these nice big clumps, all tied together with fungal strands, creating that structure that glues the soil together, holding in your nutrients, also absorbing and holding way more water, because it basically turns it into a sponge. Alright, so let's refocus a little bit. Just do a little scan. Seeing some more fungi in the top left here. Our ratio is increasing. I can tell that that right there in the middle is an amoeba. Maybe we'll come back and take a closer look at that at 400x in a little bit, but I'm assuming we're going to see more of them, so we probably won't even have to refine that one. But anyway, just scroll up to the top of the slide, go over one, and now we'll go back down. Usually we start off with a scan to see if we can find any large microorganisms on there. Usually we see about 1 to 2 nematodes per slide, an occasional ciliate moving around. So I like to start with that scan because, you know, they're the most fun to look at anyway. And then once we zoom in here, we'll be actually able to see the bacteria. you can't quite make them out. They're really small. Just those little tiny dots in there, and you can't even quite tell they're wiggling it from 100x. But we'll get to that as soon as we zoom in, and we'll see how the bacteria is doing in this bed. But yeah, seeing some really nice structure. Oh, we got a quick moving. I don't know if anybody caught that. Oh, there he is. Oh, it's going to be too tough to get that fast moving ciliate or flagellate. It's pretty small. Could be either or, ciliate or flagellate. Would have to get a closer look to really be able to tell. But you always want to see a couple of them. You don't want it to look like pond water. That's a sign of your soil being overwatered or anaerobic, but you definitely want to see a couple of them because they are facultative. They'll do well in an oxygen environment like the soil as long as there's enough water, as well as oxygen depleted pond water. But anyway, slide's getting very busy over here with aggregation. Yep, we want to see more aggregation like these big black ones, which are essentially the bacteria and microorganisms forming glomulin and glues all over the soil. And like these are pieces, like this would be a piece of sand, a little bit smaller, silt, and maybe these little small ones over here are just little pieces of clay. But what we want to see is everything in nice glued together aggregates for that spongy, healthy soil. It's definitely improving this bed. We're seeing a lot more aggregation and a lot less clear bits. Yeah, as we scroll around too, if anybody's joining us live, feel free to ask some questions. Be happy to do my best to answer. Yeah, we're getting real busy over here. Let's move over to the not so busy part of the slide here so we can actually see some stuff. Yeah, and if you guys are watching later, pop those questions in the comment. I check pretty regularly and I'll get back to you and let you know. So that might be a root hair or piece of an insect, or even could be microplastic, this really big strand. Could be a crumpled up saprophytes. Saprophytes do get that big. Saprophytic fungi, that is. Or it could be a little tiny crumpled up root hair. Alright, let's move on. You're seeing more of those strands over here. But yeah, that's looking more like a saprophytic fungi strand. Yeah, considering it's really long, that's probably not microplastic, but it still could be. Oh yeah, we got a smaller strand coming out of it. Yeah, I would say that's a nice saprophyte. Okay. Saprophytes are just another part of the soil food web, and they're great reducers. You'll see a lot of those in a compost. They're and if for your compost bin indoor, when you leave it too long and you get all those white fuzzy hairs growing on there, those are saprophytes. Alright. Just finishing up the scan here before we go into 400x. Might actually switch over to Darkfield. I was trying to get my Darkfield dialed the other day, and I almost got it there. But I just found my my light filter. So I think that really helps with the Darkfield. So we can test that out in a second. Oh, got another little ciliate. Yep, that's definitely a ciliate. You just kind of tell how the way he swims, and he's oval and not round. But yeah, small little ciliate. Going around eating bacteria and making it more plant available. Breaking stuff down. Yeah, seeing some more fungi. Yeah, we haven't seen any fungi in the last little bit. Oh, but there we go. Got another strand there. Nice little micro aggregate. You can see it just pulling all the pieces together. Alright. Yeah, seeing a little bit. A couple more little pieces of fungi sticking out of there. We're getting there. Still think we're far from our 1-to-1 fungal to bacterial ratio goal, but it's improving. Alright. Where are we on that? I think we got one more down, one more up. Oh yeah, we already looked at that. There we go. Nice uniform strands there. Some more over there to the left, and those aggregates, and some more. Alright, yeah, that's... You want to see pretty much, for a 1-to-1, every frame, you want to see a decent fungal strand. That's the goal, anyway. Here is the example. That's microplastic right here. That's probably from a blue tarp or something. Those tiny little pieces get everywhere and into your soil. But yeah, that's definitely a good example of what microplastic looks like. Alright, let's go over to about here, take one more scan up, see if we can find a nematode or anything else wiggling around in there. And then we're going to go into 400x and see how the bacteria is doing. Yeah, like this you can tell is organic matter. Just let me see if I can get a little bit better focus. Or looks a lot like organic matter because you can see the, little pieces of cell and it's fraying like that. Yep. Always good. Have that organic matter in the carbon because that's going to feed the microbiology and add a whole lot of energy to your soil. Got some more fungal strands. Nice. Ratio's looking pretty decent. Yep. Anything big wiggling around in there? More saprophytic fungi looking strands. These look nice and dark down here. They might be the more regular type of fungi. Or hopefully the type that form symbiotic relationships. The mycorrhizal. Usually those smaller strands, the saprophytes, are usually the big clear ones. Alright, we're getting up towards the edge of the slide here. Yep, right up in the corner. Let's see if we see anything moving on this very last edge piece here. Sometimes find the nematodes over here bumping against the edge, trying to escape the slide. I haven't found a nematode on there. We might have just missed them, but... Yep, there's the edge of the slide. Alright, yep. Alright. Let's see. What should we... Oh, did I just see something moving? Alright, what should we look at here? Move around, see if we can find something cool to look at closer. Let's take a look at that rod there. I don't know if that's a diatom, I mean. But yeah, let's get right in the middle. Back the slide off a little bit, switch over to 400x. Get zoomed in, gotta change my settings, get a little bit more light. Nope, wrong way. There we go. That should be enough light. Let's get focused. We're going the right way, right? Let's actually use this. Come on. Oh, getting very close now. Oh, there we go. Close. Aha! Alright. Whole lot of bacteria moving around there. Where was that rod? Ah, here it is. What is that? Looks like could be a straight piece of a nematode. It doesn't look very diatomish. Whatever it is, looks like it's being broken down and by the bacteria. So it could have been a diatom that's just getting old, getting eaten. Alright. Let's take or it could be a nematode just lying dead straight that's being eaten as well. Just a piece of one. Yeah, but definitely no shortage of bacteria down there. See all these little guys wiggling around? We got a rod, like a lactus bacillus shape there. And the round ones are cocci. Yeah, seeing a good amount of shapes and sizes. More diversity, the better. You want the whole soil food web, and all the different little bacteria all have different functions. Some like gobbling up nitrogen, others like gobbling up phosphorus. Some are good at providing iron and creating those, producing that glomulin. Oh, there we go. We have there's a testate amoeba hanging out right there in the middle of these pieces of sediment and organic matter. Amoebas are always a great facultative anaerobe to see. Yeah, we see a little piece of fungi there. Alright, let's see if we can find anything else cool to look at. Alright. Yeah, I love seeing these little pieces of fungi forming that web, holding all the soil together, helping to provide nutrients and hold them in. Alright. So that might be a root hair or different type of fungal strand. Could be a saprophyte. Been seeing a lot of big fat weird looking strands like that in the soil. If any mycologist knows if that's a type of fungi they're familiar with, please let me know in the comments. Or if that's just a piece of microplastic being eaten by the biology. Alright. This is very round, can't tell for sure, but this may be an arcella, just because it's so round like that. They're another type of testate amoeba, basically meaning amoeba in a shell. That could be a piece of mineral, could be an arcella. I'm leaning towards arcella just because it's so round. You know, most, minerals are going to be, that's pretty round for a mineral. Most are jagged and like this piece of sand here. Alright. Oh, there's a nice example of a little piece of fungi, and you can see the septa, the separation in the fungal cell. And that's a brown one. Possibility could be mycorrhizal or arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi, but don't know for sure. Oh, here we got, that could be, see all the spiral shapes in the middle there? So this is probably like an algae strand, or what's the Spyro something, Spirogella. So bad with words. I need a book to reference every time with all these different names of everything to remember it all. Looks like a tiny little amoeba right there. Oh yeah, there's a couple more amoeba. And I actually have the microscopy book, the Matt Powers microscopy book right over there. I'm actually thinking about busting that out, and every time I see something just going into the book that I'm not quite positive. But that's a good tool to have right by your microscope, is Matt's book on microscopy. Oh, so here we have a really nice dark brown septa. Actually, let me see if I can get a little bit more light going through. So yeah, these are the good fungi strands you want to see. With the nice separations, a nice septi, nice dark brown color. So you know it's filled up with nutrients, and it's creating nutrient mobility. That's one of the best things that fungi do, is those nutrients that would be otherwise stuck in one place, the fungi makes them mobile. What do we just see bumping into stuff up here? Just a bunch of bacteria? Yeah. Let's take a look at more saprophytes. Clear strands sticking out of that aggregate. And we got a piece of a Dorito. No, that's not a piece of a Dorito. That is a little mineral aggregate. You can see little pieces of bacteria wiggling around on there. Whatever they are, they seem to like it. Oh, what's this spiky thing bouncing around in there? Is that just a little aggregate? Yeah, just a little aggregate. I almost thought it was pollen. A little piece of pollen stuck in there. But no, you can see it's there's a couple of little pieces of stuff, and bacteria seem to like that. It's getting bumped all around like it's actually a moving organism. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't an organism. But you never know what you're going to find under the soil. Some of this stuff hasn't even been identified yet. Still a lot we have to learn about the microbiome and the soil food web. But seeing a good amount of testate amoebas, I like that. Alright, over to the edge now. Back this way a little bit. But might switch out and do a quick Darkfield before we end the stream. But if anybody's just joining live now, yeah, please ask some questions. I'll do my best to answer if you would like. Nice brown looking hyphae coming out of that big old aggregate up there. But yeah, we are making improvements in the soil. I think we should have a pretty decent run in this bed this year. Much better than last. Big old saprophytes. Probably I just added I put down some leaf mold and a new cover of mulch to help protect the soil going into these hot months. So I don't have to water as much, and that's what all those clear strains of fungal hyphae, really, the saprophytes, really excel at, is breaking down that organic matter, just like in your compost. Whoa, look at all this. We got all sorts of, you can see the septi in this very clear fungal hyphae. You can see how they get weird sometime when they're broken up, but they're nice and uniform over here. But this got broken up either when I was taking the sample or shaking the sample. So just so you guys can see. Oh, it actually looks like it's not as broken up as I thought. There's just a bunch of stuff stuck to it. Probably stuff that fungal hyphae wants to eat. They digest. Fungal hyphae do digest externally. And then they bring the nutrients into the phloem, which is kind of cool. Alright. We'll jump out real quick and see how our Darkfield's going. It's always fun to... We're going to go back out to 100x, actually, so I don't bump the slide before we end the stream. Oh, sorry to blind you guys. Oh, let me just do that. There we go. Alright. Let's see if we can get this dialed in here. We need a little bit more light. Probably up about there. Oh yeah. Couple more adjustments we gotta make. We gotta make sure we're all the way up at the top. That, and you must be all the way open. And oh, there we go. Almost saw something. Let's see if we can get focus. Maybe need a little bit more. Oh. There we go. We should be able to get focused then on that. Ah. And there we go. Now we're at 100x Darkfield. So this is just blocking the light, so the light only hits all the everything on the slide from the sides, and we're not blasting it with light right through the middle. Yeah, and see, I hate how the filter's warping a little bit, and I gotta give it a little push every now and then to take out that dark spot. One of these days we're gonna get the LW Scientific. It's a very expensive scope, but it's gonna allow us to do a whole bunch more stuff, like better dark field at more magnifications and epifluorescence. But one really cool thing about see how this fungal hyphae is almost glowing in the dark field. So that's one way you can really tell the fungal hyphae really stand out when you're looking at dark field. And then the if it's microplastic or something like that, it's going to glow a really weird color. It's going to be either blue or green in this particular dark field. Yeah, look at all those nice glowing orange aggregates. That's what you want to see. There's one of those ciliates we saw before. Yep, see how he's living, and he glows bright white as well. A lot like the fungi do with this lighting. Not too shabby. Making headway anyway. We want to see less and less of those clear crystals and more of the nice aggregated ones that the microbiology is breaking down. But we got a pretty good ratio. They're hard at work down there. All right. That's an interesting tone. But I don't think it's a... Trying to see if it might be some type of amoeba. It does not look like an amoeba though. I think it's some type of mineral. Maybe that's a little piece of calcium. But I wouldn't be able to know for sure. It's hard to identify what minerals are what. But nice if we got more into spectronomy and we could really identify the minerals that we see under here as well. can a little bit with that microscope that I was talking about with the epifluorescence. You get a much better idea with the epifluorescence anyway, but it's still not an exact science. So yeah, you can see this fungal hyphae here. I always find it interesting how, look how this one's glowing in orange, and this one's glowing a white color. It might actually be intertwined. This could actually be a, fungi growing into a root hair here, which would be awesome because that means endophytic fungi. Kind of looks like it comes up and goes in right there. But always cool to see stuff like that. Alrighty. Well, I think that about does it for this stream. Any last questions with anybody watching live? If not, please drop them in the comments and I'll answer them later on. Yeah, and here's what that microplastic, which is that blue piece. Yeah, blue piece of the blue tarp. Little tiny piece of the blue tarp that was probably put out there once upon a time. Takes a while for that stuff to go away. But you can see how the highlights and glows, either bright blue or we see some greens in there. Even, some green highlights there. Even without epifluorescence and just Darkfield. But you got a little cheap plastic Darkfield filter, it can definitely help identify some stuff. And it just looks really cool. And all those twinkling little stars you see in the background are the bacteria. Alright, so I guess that's a wrap for this stream. For more experience on microscopy, you can check out my past samples of this bed. I got 2 linked in the description, one from earlier this year, and you can see how much fungal hyphae there was last year before it seemed to disappear over the winter. I'm not sure if that was from the wheat cover crop that we did. Maybe it just didn't pushed it out and there was no more mulch on the top of the surface. Maybe it was the cold winter that knocked them out. We can only speculate, but it's nice to see that they are coming right back. Easy little inoculant, put down some compost, and we're doing good. I think next year we're going to try to put some more advanced species, maybe like a prairie mix for our cover crop over next winter. See if we can find something hardy for the winter that's a little bit more advanced than a wheatgrass, and see how that advances our soil. At least that's the plan anyway. Alright, so I guess that's a wrap, guys. Until next time, happy gardening, and we will catch you on the flip.